you're focused on transportation logistics, but mostly yard security. Is that not right?
Yeah, that's right. We started off initially just installing a couple of cameras in a truck yard and looking for bad guys that jump over the fence.
Tough times for the trucking industry is very prosperous times for thievery.
The amount of trespasser deterrences that we have today on an average yard has doubled in the last year. And last year doubled over the year before.
We all know what security guards are doing at 3 in the morning.
They're 100% right, and it could be a vicious downward spiral.
Welcome to the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. This week, we've got Birdseye. What the heck is Birdseye? It's a yard entry system that enhances yard security. And if you're worried about fraud and things like that, you got to listen to this week's show. Mike is next.
Welcome to the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast.
Hey, Mike, welcome to the show. Can you take a minute, please, and introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners?
Of course, very happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. My name is Mike Grabovica, and I'm the founder of Birdseye Security Solutions.
And Mike, it's about bloody time you got on the show. I've been trying to get you on the show for maybe 3 years. So this is going to be a little animosity coming out of me.
Don't take it personal, Mike.
I'm not. I'm happy to be on the show, and yes, I owe you dinner. Yes.
And for our viewers, if you haven't figured it out, Mike and I have known each other for several years, probably like 15, maybe 20. How old of a company is Birdseye?
It's about 15 years at this point, getting close to that. And we've been hyper-focused on the logistics industry, which is how we met. Probably at one of the Fleet Safety Council meetings or some of the industry events.
Yep.
So we've been exclusively focused on transportation logistics.
And tell me, I mean, you're focused on transportation logistics, but mostly yard security. Is that not right?
Yeah, that's right. So we started off initially just installing a couple of cameras in a truck yard and looking for bad guys that jump over the fence. And the customer would say, well, that's great, but I still need the security guard, at the gate. And we said, well, what can we do to add more value? He said, well, get rid of that guard, or let me repurpose that individual, find a way to open and close the gate remotely. So we figured that out, and they said, that's great, but you're not IDing people. And we said, okay, well, then we figured that out. And then they said, well, we still need the security guard. I said, well, why? They're like, well, he records truck and trailer numbers. I'm like, okay, we'll figure out how to do that. And we said, okay, can you get rid of the security guard now? He said, no. So, well, why not? He said, well, he checks for damages on the equipment to make sure the equipment's not beat up. And, I said, okay, well, we figure out how to inspect equipment on the way in and out. He said, can you get rid of the guard now? He said, no. Why not? Well, the security guard makes sure that everyone's doing their pre-trip and post-trip inspections. We said, well, what's that? And then they said, well, this is what it is and why it's required. And then we figured out how to enforce pre-trip and post-trip inspections. And eventually, through time, the evolution of the company was just listen to your customer and solve their problems, and then the more we learned about safety and compliance and operations in general, we learned that if we just focus on everyone just doing what they're supposed to be doing in the yard, you kind of get security for free. So security is a byproduct of a really well-run operation. And there's a lot more to trucking than when it comes from a security standpoint, than just keeping the bad guys away. There's a lot of risk that carriers take on, and if you help them control that risk, they can take on more risk, and it helps them grow, and it helps them with their insurance rates, and all of the above matters because the margins in trucking are really slim, and everyone's in survival mode, especially these days.
Yeah, and you really glossed, I mean, you gave us an overview of what Birdseye does, but you really glossed over a lot of the, what I believe are the key points. And I first found out about Birdseye. You may not remember this, but yes, we met at a meeting and you ended up taking me for lunch because I was working for an insurance company at the time. And I think you wanted maybe my endorsement, some feedback, I'm not sure. But when you described the system to me, that's what resonated with me. And it's been years since we actually talked how Birdseye works. But if I'm a truck driver and I show up to the gate, what am I doing? What's the very first thing Birdseye is going to ask me to do?
Well, the very first thing is you're going to be greeted professionally, consistently, always. Just a good old simple, good afternoon, how are you? We perform about 1 million gate transactions a month. And what most of them have in common is every truck yard's slightly different, but I would say the most consistent protocol is a quick check, driver's license, the person's face. You have a little conversation. You'd be surprised how many times you'll find out someone's intoxicated. Maybe you remind them to put on their safety vest if that's the protocol for that particular yard. So they'll literally do it right there in their seat. And you'll check their BOL paperwork. You'll check the truck number, trailer number, license plate number, reconcile it against the YMS, ask a bunch of other questions that may be particular to that specific yard, and do a 3-way match, 4-way match, 5-way match. Make sure that the right drivers coming in with the right equipment, with the right load, going to the right dock door. And then maybe you might even discuss yard rules. Like maybe to you, it might be important that just keep in mind, don't speed here. Management here is really adamant about you wearing your safety vest. Polite reminder, if you got slippers on, terminal manager here does not like that. I see that you're, coming in empty, just a polite reminder, we're doing a blitz. If you decide to sweep out the back of your trailer and leave it all over there, and if you park in G8 instead of G36, we're not going to let you out of the yard. Or maybe post-trip inspections are really important. So to answer your question, it's really yard specific, and we tailor our system and the gate procedures that are very much aligned with those rules. Sometimes those rules come from corporate. So if they have 10 yards or 400 yards, they want cookie cutter gate processes. And they'll sometimes, they'll send a blasted email from now on, all the processes must be identical. But there is a lot of site specific work that we do. So it all depends. I think that's what I'm really trying to say to answer your question is depends on what you want. But ultimately, there are some best practices for sure.
There's a few basic rules. Every time I enter a Birdseye facility, I've got to put my driver's license in that little slot so the remote access person can view my driver's license. And then there's that second camera that's on my face. Is that not still how it all works?
Yes, sir. Believe it or not, those that have ill intent are more scared of a camera than they are of you and me in person.
Yeah, I believe that. Now, when you're
especially during the COVID days, if you recall, everyone had the masks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd be surprised how many people would not remove their mask while they're speaking to the camera. And you would say, well, why not? No one's in the truck with you. No one's nowhere nearby you. And you're trying to get inside the yard. Like, just pull your mask down for a second. So yes, that still is the case because if you don't want to identify yourself when you come to my house, you're not welcome. I think it's that needs to be standard rule for a lot of truckers, a lot of owners of trucking companies.
Now, way back then, 10, 15 years ago, one of the things that impressed me, and tell me if this is still how Birdseye operates or can operate perhaps, after the identification of that driver, it has been done through the driver's license and the live camera feed. You told me that companies submit truck numbers and drivers' names of people who are supposed to be coming into the yard and leaving the yard, and security matches that. Is that still being done?
Yes, that's correct. Again, it's going to be protocol specific for some yards. They want to have scheduling in advance. They want to know who's coming hours before they arrive. So it will be site specific, but it's good to know what you're expecting and not just leave, but also to exit. How many times has a trucker accidentally grabbed the wrong load? He makes it all the way to the border to find out he's got the wrong load, right? So we eliminate those kinds of errors, which can be quite inconvenient to say the least for operations.
Well, and one of the other things that impressed the hell out of me was, and I saw this at one of the yards, you weren't there, but it was my customer's facility. If the driver came in to pick up an empty trailer, on their way out, they have to open the rear door, and there's a camera that can look into the trailer to verify that it's an empty trailer. Right? Now, I guess that's probably yard specific, but I know it's frequent that people go in and pick up trailers that are supposed to be empty, or they pick up trailer 465 and they were supposed to pick up trailer 46. I'm trying to transpose the numbers in my head and I forget what I said.
456. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? These are the types of things that Birdseye can help with, is it not?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So we look to be the absolute micromanager for your yard. So there's literally hundreds and hundreds of those small little tiny nuances that happen in large multi-acre sites that you want to be able to control. So for example, that's a good one is, let's make sure that the trailer is empty. And how many empties are there in the yard at any given moment? And so, in some truck yards, they want everyone to park in straight lines. And they're really fierce about this. They want the yard to look like a Mercedes dealership.
Sure.
So we enforce that, I think the big ones are pre-trip and post-trip inspections, speeding in the yard, 3 points of contact, getting in and out of a truck, which seems like a small thing, but it's huge. So you want to be enforcing that. And usually what safety compliance managers will do is they'll have a file on John Smith. Here's how many times he was warned about the safety vest, how many pre-trips he didn't do. And they'll put that in the file. Not so much to hold those that don't follow the rules accountable, which they do, but also to promote the winners. They'll give out, coffee cards, and they'll say, hey, here's our top 10 drivers. They're really adamant about security, safety, operations, everything with the yard. They're following these protocols. They're not, driving with a cell phone in their hand. So, we're like the world's greatest truck yard micromanager, if you will, right? And so that's kind of just ties into what I was saying earlier. If everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing with respect to safety and compliance and operations and following protocol, anything that deviates outside of that is an immediate security threat. It's like, wait, you're not supposed to be here. Why are you here? You're speeding. Well, why are you speeding? Right? So everything becomes an orange flag that you now escalate. And then we have everyone we hire is essentially either worked in trucking in the past or they've received trucking specific training. So we're all kind of like truckers at Birdseye. So we know what we're looking for. So some of those examples tie into what you were saying earlier. So it just there's a lot of little nuances in truck yards that you got to be mindful about, and they can quickly escalate into someone dying under the truck yard, which is never fun. I'm sure you've heard stories. You both worked in insurance, so you try to eliminate those accidents, whether they're in the yard or they're caused outside of the yard because a pre-trip didn't happen. And not to mention, BOT or CVR, or, you want to make sure you're not being pulled over, your records are clean. So if a truck is going to exit the yard and they got a cracked windshield or a cracked taillight, very easy to fix, but it'll save you the headache. So take the few extra minutes, do it right. It pays off in the long run.
I wanted to touch on, because we stepped in that area early on, Mike, and was talking about the current environment that the transportation industry is in right now, tight margins and whatnot. And yes, we can all agree, regardless of what's happening south of the border, it's tough times for everybody. There's no doubt. But at the same time, tough times for the trucking industry is very prosperous times for thievery. So all the more reason why you want to be on guard and have your sentries there, which is your Birdseye, working to its fullest capability. I have, unfortunately, similar like Chris, been out to see clients and walked into situations where the gate's not working. Oh, why not? Wow, we couldn't afford to make the payments this month. And it's like, but the gate's open. Like, I walked through, nobody checked me, nobody to see, oh yeah, well, we got dispatch watching it. Really? Like, perfect opportunity for a theft to come in. And unfortunately, we know that drivers have a tendency to talk, and it may not be malicious in their talk, but it might be, oh yeah, things are tight. Yeah, the gate's not working and they haven't fixed this and they haven't fixed that. And all you need is the right guy, like, Chris, who works for Hell's Angels over there, and he now tells his buddies, and the next thing you know, they're coming knocking on your door and, oh, we'll take this truck, we'll take that trailer, we'll take this, we'll take that. And somebody's making money out of the deal.
You're right, 100%. It seems kind of just intuitive. There's definitely, I mean, we've seen it. The amount of trespasser deterrences that we have today on an average yard has doubled in the last year, and last year doubled over the year before. So activity's gone up significantly. But it's challenging for carriers to feel like this is the time to invest when they're really thinking about that they can't see past the next couple of months. So I feel for them. Where we've had, let's say, most of our business where we have been winning it has been where they have a security guard and they're looking to lower their costs. They're saying, is there a different way that I can do what my guard does at the guard shack, but can I get 10 times more value for less?
Right.
So these recessions, as painful as they are, I think they're a great opportunity for everyone to kind of take a look inward and say, what are we doing? How are we spending money? And, it's an opportunity to lean up. And then those that tend to do that during these times, they usually come out really strong. And whether it's hiring for talent when it doesn't feel like they should, or investing in security, or maybe sometimes just looking at a different way to do the same thing. So we're in the business of offering a lot more for less.
Well, and right now, if a carrier was to lose a load due to theft, how does he explain that to the customer? Because all of a sudden he does have to explain to the customer where those goods went. So potentially that could be a lot of revenue that they're losing, because all of a sudden I can lose that customer. It's not just the one load all the time. Never mind having to explain it to your insurance company, and then your insurance company saying, well, what protocols do you have in place? And the trucking company going, huh? Protocols? Well, what am I got a security guard. But we all know what security guards are doing at 3 a.m, frequently at least. They're not paying attention. It's 3 a.m. Things are quiet and it's really boring.
You're 100% right, and it could be a vicious downward spiral. So you try to save money in one area, you end up losing a load. Now your insurance rate potentially goes up, or you don't claim it and you're out the money, which now leads to further tightening, which leads to more cutting corners, and it can really spiral out of control very quickly. And I feel it for carriers. This has been the longest recession in a very long time. Some were steeper, but they were shorter. The Band-Aid was ripped off quicker. So I really feel it for them. And I think, what I've seen is from the experience we have a lot of truck yards across North America, is the let's call them best in class. They're just looking for ways to analyze how they're operating, and they're actually getting stronger. They're looking at ways they can deploy technology to do more with less. Everyone's in a different spot. I honestly, I feel it for a lot of people out there. It's not easy. But ultimately, those that come out of it and use the opportunity to maybe change some of their systems, some of their processes, technology's come a really long way. We're a great partner in that way, and there's many others. It could be used as a really great opportunity, and because the market's slow for everyone, a lot of vendors are offering discounts, so it's a great time to lock in longer term contracts. So it's an opportunity, but it's also not easy for a lot of folks out there.
Right.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, how come when you pull into a truck yard, sometimes it takes like forever to enter or exit the facility. It becomes a bottleneck, is what I'm trying to say. Does Birdseye help in that way at all?
Yes, so we reduce the gate processing time on average by about 75%.
How?
It's standardized. Yes, that's the average, and it's really standardized. There's never a time when no one's there, because it's just runs 24/7 unless the customer requests a different hours of the day to have security or not. But you could also sometimes, and worth mentioning, you can be as secured as you're willing to inconvenience people.
Right.
So there are times where you can jeopardize, the safety protocols and different SOPs in exchange for, let's just get the truck in and let's get it out.
Yeah.
Now, there's a fine balance between, let's do this at the right time. Let's not have a lineup of trucks going down the street. So there's a fine balance of that. But certainly technology will, on average, do everything that a human does, just faster. And I think that's been proven in every industry, including the security industry, and specifically for carriers that are looking to have some sort of a gate management system that we offer, or something along those lines.
Well, I got to believe that every carrier needs to have some sort of management system to control the flow of their trucks and trailers leaving, their cargo leaving. Who is it that's driving that truck? As they say, I go back to our early days when you told me, you needed a name on a sheet of paper saying, Chris is going to arrive about 2 a.m. and he's in this tractor number and he should be pulling this trailer number. If that's who arrives with the picture with my driver's license of my face, let him in. So hopefully that's what's happening out there.
With the high alert that we've been seeing lately on just identity theft alone, whether it be a person or whether it be an organization, that's been a huge challenge for a lot of companies, and even shippers, receivers. I'm assuming your services are needed at those locations as well to be able to verify, just as Chris said, Chris, this truck, this trailer number, yes, let him in. And the same thing going out. Make sure he's got this, all the ducks are all lined up.
Yeah, it's true, and it's easier for larger carriers to take advantage of the data that we produce, that telematics produce, and to just kind of analyze all the information and work closer with their insurers and be able to maximize their loss prevention credits by demonstrating that they have everything in check. And yes, 100%. You need to have tight control over your yard and make sure that all your data is accurate. That there's rules and regulations. You know, tight SOPs. So certainly, I agree. And those are the companies that are doing great. If I think, it kind of comes down to every carrier has to ask themselves a question, like, and maybe some of them do, maybe some of them don't, but I think every company should. What do I want it? What do I want? Do I want to grow to this many trucks? Is it this much revenue? Is this a legacy business I want to pass on to my kid? What do I want? Do I want to build a great business that I am proud of? Do I want to be, the safest fleet? Do I want to matter in the industry? If I go to an event, if someone's going to say, John Transport, they're a great carrier. They got best clients. They got into a good captive. They got favorable rates. They're hanging on to their drivers. So it's all, what matters to you, right? What kind of a carrier do you want to be? And I think it always comes down to that question of why, right? So why am I doing this? Am I just doing this to pay some bills, maybe buy a house here and a condo in Miami? Is that it? Or do I want more out of this? So, it's almost becomes a philosophical question to some point, but really it drives it. All these rules come from the top down.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sure that you guys have seen this in risk many times. No matter what advice you give someone, they're not, they don't follow it. And there's maybe a variety of reasons why they don't. So yes, there's best practices.
Yep.
And there's, vendors out there that can do it. It's just that there's always homework in identifying the right vendors, identifying what's right for you, and test driving and all those things. But certainly our experience is that almost all trucking companies that follow best practices have the best reputation, which leads to higher value loads, which leads to more higher value loads, more preferable lanes, which then helps out with driver retention, which is a huge problem, as we all know. So all of these things matter, and realizing this, and thanks to you gentlemen who've been part of my career at the very early stages, is you got to think of all of these things holistically. Yes, I initially started with security and the name stuck, but really you got to look at it. What do you want to become as a company? And how do you kind of bring it all together to help you realize the best version of your team, your company, yourself as a professional?
I was going to say the word culture. Build the culture.
Yes. Like I like to use the analogy of like your kids. There's the only chance you have control over them is when they're at your house. The minute they get out on the road, you hope that they take the culture and the values out there. So what does that mean? That means that when you're in the yard, you follow best practices. You put your dishes away, you clean up after yourself, you follow best practices. We hope as parents, make your bed, right?
Yep.
So brush your teeth. So, and then you hope that you take those values out on the road, and it's a continuation, it's an extension of your culture. If I'm a driver and you're trying to recruit me, and I drive to, I come into a truck yard and I see everyone's, parked nice straight line. Everyone, there's a sense of pride. You come into a clean yard, there's some garbage everywhere. Fence isn't broken. The gate works. I'm a good driver. I've been driving for a long time. I have choices. I'm in demand. I'm going to go work at a yard where I feel safe, where I'm going to learn something. I'm going to be in a good company that's following best practices. So again, it just all goes up to who do you want to be as a company? Where do you want to go? And it'll drive all the decisions from small to big. And it might seem all very expensive, but honestly, sometimes it just comes down to that word culture, and I think a lot of companies lack it. And
Yes.
so what we do as a company is we help enforce that culture. And some of our, I mentioned protocols are site specific. So we will adapt to your culture. Maybe you want to be a little bit more lax on some of the rules, maybe not, but whatever it is, every company's got a culture, whether they know it or not.
Right. Oh, true.
Very true. Mike, thanks so much for this. I really enjoyed that. And for those of you that are watching and listening, Mike's contact info is in the show notes down below. If you're interested in yard security and exploring what Birdseye might bring to you, reach out. All right, Mike, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yes. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great to see you again, and congratulations on all your success.
Appreciate it. You too.
Don't go away.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on the show, Mike, so much. I appreciate it. And for you viewers and listeners, please share this video with someone that you think will get benefit from it. And I would appreciate it so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. Johnny and Chris, we're out of here.